Oh, yes. Hello. Hi. And welcome back to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where the tea is piping hot and we're always ready to spill. I'm Logan Murphy, just a gay. I will say earlier today I had tea. I had some lemon honey ginger tea earlier today, and it was lovely and beautiful. But my cup today is actually filled with crystallized ginger because this has been my saving grace as I'm recovering from food poisoning that I gave to myself. So it's just the best. It's just the best.
Well, how do I follow that up?
I don't know.
Like this. Hi, I'm Lana, your resident diva. You know how I am. I give the tea, I spill the tea, and I love some tea. So if you got tea, give it to me, honey. And my cup is just simply water today. And because water, but this water I got from New Orleans when I went.
Ooh.
And from the blacksmith bar. So Lafayette blacksmith bar. Water. So there we go.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Survivor 42. We're back again.
We're back again.
Everyone is officially merged after we lost bisexual icon Lydia in the last episode.
Yeah.
Queen of both of y'all bitches, come over here. I'm still that's still up there as my favorite moment of the season so far. I have to be honest. I will say we'll talk about it, but Drea and this red paint situation is like inching up there for me. Oh boy, yeah. So we're gonna dive into episode 7, but before we do, make sure to subscribe, do all this, all those things. I forget to say that at the start of videos all the time, so
I mean, we say it at the end, but you know what to do. You subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff that you do in other podcasts and things like. Do it here too.
You're on YouTube. Y'all know what to do.
I know what to do. Hit that bell. Hit it.
Exactly.
For notifications and subscribe. But yeah, Survivor 42 is what we're here to talk about today. And yeah, everybody's merged and everybody's wearing the purple buffs because they got them.
I love both seasons of Survivor this year. We've gotten a purple merge buff.
I'm here
for South Africa. I'm looking directly at you. If there is not a purple buff, I'm going to be mad. But we come back to the Kula Kula tribe, which this name is never brought up. There is never a discussion of the tribe name.
No.
It's just there's a discussion of the flag later on, but we never get a discussion of the name. And so we start the episode just with the waves crashing over the 42 symbol, and it's Kula Kula. And I'm like, oh, cool. La. I've been waiting to make that pun since the episode came out.
Cool. But yeah, that's Kula Kula. I was like, where'd that come from? But good to know.
Does it translate to something? I'm not really all that sure.
I don't care. Honestly.
There's always at least one person that makes the merge that is like, I know this word in Fijian, whether it's real or not.
Honestly, I don't care what.
You know what? Any merge tribe name is going to be better than America. So I'll take it.
Period.
Honestly.
Period.
But we do get back to the Kula Kula beach after the untimely elimination of Lydia. And we get a confessional from good old Mike saying that on the outs we have Romeo, Chanel, Tori, and Mary Ann. Obviously, because the other 7 are in what used to be the 8 and is now the 7.
Mm-hmm.
because they literally voted out one of their own members. But it's cool, whatever. And Chanel is very concerned because she is on the wrong side of the first vote of the merge. And Romeo is also concerned because he was on the wrong side of the first vote. And so he's going off on Drea about not giving him information. And then Drea is saying that Romeo is paranoid. And then guess what, Lana? Marianne is also concerned because she was on the wrong side of the vote.
I mean, here's my thing. I want to know what Drea and Hi and Lindsay are. How would they? How would they think Marianne, Chanel, and Romeo would feel? How wouldn't they, if they were in their shoes, they would be paranoid too? So I'm like, why are we acting like this is paranoia out of nowhere? This is very much validated paranoia. Like,
yeah, and we'll talk a lot about Romeo in this episode because he was a very central figure again. This time for not necessarily the good reasons. But I wish we had gotten some sort of confessional either in the last episode or this episode from Drea, where we get a little bit of explanation as to why she's suddenly not working with Romeo anymore.
Well, she said in this episode, she was like, Romeo's paranoid. I was very close to Romeo, but once merge started, things changed. And I don't know. I've known these people for like 16 days. So nobody's my best friend when I don't feel well. And so she did mention that since merge, it has changed between her and Romeo, and she just felt like this other alliance would be better for her than sticking with Romeo.
I do remember that for sure. I think the biggest thing is like what things changed. Was it just the paranoia? Were there other external factors? I guess that's kind of where I'm getting at with it is like, was it just the fact, like, where did this paranoia stem from? Because we never really saw the like nucleus of the paranoia from Romeo. We kind of just got the after effect of the paranoia, unless I'm forgetting something, which I very well could be.
I don't think you are. I think this is just the editing has been a little weird, and we're not getting all the stories.
Like it is merged, so there's a lot to show.
So. A lot to show, and so they didn't show why Drea felt like she couldn't work with Romeo anymore, what stemmed that. But I also think it was due to the fact when the merge happened, the way the teams was split up or whatever, and then the way people started coming together. Romeo just wasn't in those conversations, and Drea was. And so...
Sure.
But when it got to like when they were coming together with Jonathan and Lindsay, like Jonathan made sure Lindsay was included. She chose Roxroy, and I feel like that's something else. Like I feel like she knows that Roxroy would be more appealing to like the Jonathans and the Mikes and the High than a Romeo would be as far as strength, because they're definitely more about strength and whatever. So she chose a Roxroy over a Romeo, and I think that is something that she was clearly thinking about, like who is going to be more appealing to this alliance, who won't look at me like I'm, bringing in somebody a weaker, quote unquote, weaker player.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and my whole counterpoint to that was going to be, well, not everyone was there for the 8 conversation, and so some people were brought in that moment. But I also think Roxroy is it not only brings the strength to this alliance, but also is a very nice shield in front of Drea, as opposed to Romeo, who's not going to necessarily be as much of a shield. So I definitely understand it. I just wish because of how central Romeo has been in the last 2 episodes specifically. I just wish we had seen like the origin of the true bits of the paranoia, but
Agreed.
whatever. This Marianne moment where she's feeling left out and she's like reminiscing on like school days where she felt left out and felt like something was wrong with her. I was like, no, girl, because I know that feeling firsthand and I understand it.
Too.
And like,
I literally was like, she's breaking my heart right now because I could so relate to that. Like, just when you think you found a place where you can be yourself and be open, then for the people who you thought you could be open with to say, oh no, you're still too weird for us to, like, you can't hang out with us. And that's so sad. Like, I like, for me in this moment, I'm so thankful that I had the opposite reaction that she's having when I joined the community that we are a part of, because I was that person that felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. I was always just brought along to get along for something, and nobody accepted me for me. And then when I got into this community that we're a part of, people accepted me for me. And it was like eye-opening, like, oh, I'm just good enough just being me, instead of now I can't still people find me weird and I don't hang out with the cool kids. Like, I really hope my that she knows that she is so loved. Like, I know she sees how loved she is, because you can't go anywhere in the Survivor pages or fandom without people loving Marianne, adoring. Like, yes,
truly, I would say one of the best casting choices Survivor has ever made.
Yes.
Honestly, like, she is up there in just love and like universal love in a way that, like, honestly, in a way that I don't think we've seen. And I'm gonna make this comparison. I don't think we've seen this much love for someone since Suri. Like, I really feel like, as far as the fan base reaction has been, I don't think there's been anyone as universally loved since Suri Fields.
Yeah, I would even say Rupert in his first season.
Sure.
Because remember when Rupert first got there and everybody just adored Rupert. We just loved Rupert. He was just so... So I'm feeling very much Suri, very Rupert kind of as love. I would even
maybe say Ozzy to an extent.
Ozzy to an extent, I would agree.
Yeah, I would.
People loved Ozzy for a plethora of reasons. I mean, Ozzy was definitely good looking. Ozzy was comp beast crazy, and all around just a nice guy. So everybody loved Ozzy for several reasons. So yeah, I can see that too.
And to know that I technically, it'll never happen, but I technically now have a shot with Ozzy. Hello. Just makes it better in my mind. But I definitely felt for Marianne in this moment. But we go from emotional moment to emotional moment, Lana, because we pop up the next day and we get this really lovely moment between Omer and Mike. Over religious differences, and like Mike being a man of a certain generation, who is completely open and willing to learn about Omer's religious beliefs and practices. This was just wonderful in every possible way.
It is. It was beautiful. Being the same age as Mike. I really I love to see that he's being open to doing that, and learning, because you are never too old to learn new things, and being open about it. I do hate a little bit the idea that everybody of an older generation, we are stuck in our ways and we won't open and we don't change. Fair. Because that's kind of disgusting for me, because I feel like I am a very open person. I'm willing to open and learn about
of course
things. and learn as I go. And even if I make mistakes along the
Sure.
way, but I get it, because I definitely am very staunch in what I know to be for me is right for me.
Yeah.
But some of us are a little open-minded.
I would honestly go as far to say white people of your generation are not open to it. Just, you know, that's
I would say it's some of us too. There's black folks. There's some of us that are very
sure. But I would, in my personal experience, that is how I feel. Where like I feel like people that aren't white have been a little bit more open.
Less open.
No, people that aren't white have been
aren't white. I thought you said
people that
white.
are not. Let's break apart that. Let's break that apart. People that are not white, in my experience, have been more open to all of that. So that's probably just my bias and my experience. But you know, I thought this was a lovely, lovely moment.
It was a lovely moment.
Cool, lovely, wonderful reward challenge.
Yeah.
You gotta swim through the water, get some buoys, and shoot some hoops. And it is a team challenge where one person draws another dang gray rock. They're really getting their use out of these gray rocks.
Hey, man, look here. They said, we got these rocks, we done painted them, and we kept one of them gray. We gonna use them, god dog.
Well, no, there's two of them.
I know, it was two of them because Roxroy and Lindsay got last time, but this time, they said we'll take one of them out. We only gonna use one, but they gonna use these gray rocks and these colored rocks. Got dog in it.
Well, I was gonna say they had 2 years off. They painted some rocks, and we're like, we are getting our use out of these rocks. We're gonna use the same tribe colors, the same colors in the challenges. We are using these damn rocks.
We gonna use these rocks. We using them, and you know what? I ain't mad at you, Survivor. If you use your goddamn rocks, repurpose your puzzles, redo your same challenges. Why are we changing stuff up all the doggone time? It's been 2 seasons that the other season didn't watch. Now next season you got to change it up because they didn't watch this season.
I need like, what colors? I need like pink, teal, and like an emerald green next season. That's what I need for like tribe colors.
Yeah, but see, I feel like this is America. And you tell somebody, some man who is not of the queer
Jonathan type man
to wear a pink buff.
There's a reason they've never used pink.
Because they would have some problems from these manly men in America.
I would love to have a pink Survivor buff, personally.
Look, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't care. I would love to see it, but you know, men.
Okay, then maybe like I don't know.
I'm still loving the red, so I would love to see a red.
Sure, it's been a minute. Well, I was gonna say it's been a minute since they did red, but they did red on Winners at War. So
I would love to see
just in this new era of Survivor. I'd love to see a red buff.
I would love to see a red, and like you said, a teal would be good,
and like an emerald green to balance.
And a green, that works.
Hell, I don't care. Do primary colors. Do like a blood red, a sky blue, and a gold. I like that too.
And how come we can't have a black one? What's the black?
They've done black before.
I want to see another black.
I think it's only ever been merged, though.
I want to see another black.
I agree. I think it might have something to do with like the team challenges where a lot of the building materials they use are black.
That's true.
I could be very wrong, but that makes a lot of logical sense when I think about it.
I was also about to say, what is white? But then I guess white to get so freaking dirty. It'll be.
I went somewhere else. I went somewhere else, but
it'll be gray by the time they.
Ooh, but I do love a like dark gray.
A gray would be nice.
Yes.
A gray would be nice.
I love that. Anyway,
okay.
So we do the rock draw, and Marianne draws the gray rock.
Mm-hmm.
But Drea decides
nah,
she wants to sit this one out because the reward is just peanut butter and jelly and potato chips. And I got mad because I'm like, y'all are gonna starve these people, and then your reward is gonna be peanut butter and jelly
and some chips.
Really?
Drea was like,
go off.
Drea said, look, I don't even like peanut butter and jelly, so I will sit this one
I
out. I was like, sis, I ain't even mad at you. I am not even mad at you.
I genuinely thought it was a ploy at first. Like, I thought she was like, I remember this challenge from, or wait, no, she wouldn't remember the challenge from 41. Or maybe like the Michaela moment from Game Changers,
Maybe.
where the
There
sit
was
out
one
has
and
the
she
advantage
didn't
on
do
the
it.
bench. Yeah.
Right.
I thought for a second, I was like, maybe she like knows, but no. So
She just
I
don't
guess,
like peanut butter and jelly.
yeah, I guess we could talk about the Drea moment. So she's sitting out, the challenge is going on. We'll talk about the challenge. But she is like feeling around and finds another beware advantage.
Drea is advantage idol that like
She has the most jewelry of any Survivor player ever.
So this is the thing. We're watching since watching Survivor Australia and having Mark and Sam talk about how many idols they have and they need a mantle or something to keep their idols.
A trophy case.
I'm like, no, y'all don't need a trophy case. You just need a stand. Drea needs a trophy case because Drea has every advantage that this game has had to offer. She has had a part of it. She has an idol. She has an amulet. She has an extra vote. She has now another beware event. Like, sis is loaded down.
Yeah. And we'll talk about her advantage later because it's one of my favorite moments of the season for sure. But the challenge is going on. I mean, there's not a whole lot that happens. It's like pretty close, and like
it was close all the way to the end. Ugh.
The Orange Tribe is like in the lead for the bulk of it, and then Omar out of nowhere is having this like boom
Steph Curry moment,
having a Jonathan moment, or
Steph Curry.
We'll say Steph Curry moment. Boom, 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 boom. Can't get the fifth one, and then the blue team finally gets there, and Jonathan is like boom, 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 and I'm like, no.
It was so crazy because the orange team. What Jonathan was on the blue team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the blue team was in the lead. They had the lead. They had the lead.
And then Jonathan switches out.
The orange team was doing it, and then Omar was Steph Curry ended up over there, and Roxroy was just missing. He was missing, and so Jonathan was like, "We'll switch." And Omar was still on his fifth, the last one, and was shooting and couldn't get it. And Jonathan was Clay. He turned into Steph Curry too, or Reggie Miller, or whatever.
Clay Thompson.
Clay Thompson too. He was just like whoop, whoop, and all five in a row. Not one missed. All five in a row. They win. Jonathan, Chanel, Mike, Rock, and Tori win the Ripcord, and they win peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Oh, sandwich. Woo.
One
sandwich.
I will say though,
that was a big old sandwich though.
I am a big fan of a peanut butter and jelly myself.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this looked so good. I was like, what kind of bread is that?
That was a very thick bread and lots of like they did not skimp on the peanut butter nor the jelly.
I appreciate
too. Because it would have been sad if it was one of them little school little
right. See, I would have taken that if it were me. I would have taken it out of Fiji, back home with me, and just like thrown it on the griddle and fried it.
Oh,
because a grilled peanut butter and jelly is one of the best things in the world.
The best thing ever.
And if you've never tried it, I highly recommend.
Oh, most definitely. You need a warm PB&J. Like, that is everything. Like, I used to, before I discovered I know how to cook on the stove or whatever, I would just toast it in the toaster and put my peanut butter right on it, out the toaster, and let it melt, and then put my jelly on top, and then just it's just the best. A warm peanut butter and jelly sandwich like wraps you up like a blanket. It's so good.
I do like obviously butter, or I will say, as weird as this sounds, vegan mayo, because it doesn't taste like mayo, but it's like the same thing. Vegan mayo or butter on the outside, and then I do thick sourdough bread, crunchy peanut butter, cherry jam. I love crunchy peanut butter, but I understand the dislike. So whatever peanut butter you like, I use crunchy, and then cherry jam and a little bit of honey. It's everything. Like, that is my like number one comfort food.
I would say because I would switch my cherry with like either strawberry jam or grape jelly, but I definitely like the honey drizzle on top. That sounds delicious.
It just adds a little bit something else. It's
I
like
would
a
be
little extra flavor.
I will be trying that another day.
Good.
So.
I also do lingonberry jam.
I don't know what that is. I don't
It's
like
it's a like small tart berry. It's kind of like if you took like a sour cherry and like a strawberry and mixed them.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Anyway, it's tangent day here at the Cup, y'all. It's
whatever.
But we go back to camp and we see Omer is aligned with the majority 7, but he is also strategically and very thoughtfully aligned himself with each of the other people that is not in the 7.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I mean, it's a smart move. You get information from everywhere. You always are in the know of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But at some point, that's going to come back and bite him in the butt. So I'm just waiting on it to happen.
Yep. So, okay, we're there. Let's talk about Drea's Beware advantage. So she opens the advantage and she finds out that there is like a thing 5 paces from the water well under a coconut. And so she ends up finding it and she has to put her hand in this container to get the advantage. But then her hand is covered in red paint. I loved this. I'm going to be real honest. I loved this because it's so different from really any sort of like twist or like advantage that we've seen before on Survivor. And I kind of wish we had seen this last season, but I'm also really glad that no one got it on the I don't remember who sat out that challenge, I'm going to be honest. It might have been Shan.
I can't remember who sat out.
I don't remember. But even Jeff, we got a lot of asides to Jeff in this episode too, which I was like, I'm okay with this still. Give it a few episodes, I might get a little annoyed with how many, but...
I mean, I only need 1 per episode for me. I think 1 per episode is good enough.
I'll handle
maybe 2.
I'll handle 2 for now.
At the challenges. Like, if it's a reward challenge and an immunity challenge, sure, do that thing.
He was even like, this is one of my favorites, so I'm going to be really sad and disappointed if no one gets it. And I see why. So she gets... Liana's knowledge is power advantage, which we know from Survivor 41 is you can straight up ask someone if they have an idol or an advantage and they have to give it to you. And Drea is in a much more advantageous position this season because she knows who has advantages and who has idols. And while I think that might play negatively towards our good sis Marianne,
which I cannot stand, it grates my nerves. It grates my nerves, but okay.
But Drea's got all her jewelry, and she kind of just needs an immunity challenge win to sort of just like get all the jewelry you could possibly get on the season, honestly. But she goes back to camp, and of course, the first person to notice something is fucking Tori. And she's like, oh my God, are you bleeding? Like, kind of being like a little like concerned.
I would have, and if I was Drea, I would have like, yes, I cut myself out there. I'm like, I cut myself when I was trying to get some, on a stick or something. But it's okay. It's dried up because I've cleaned it up. Like, I would have played it off.
Or I would have been like, I either would have done that, or I would have been like, oh my God, I am bleeding. I must have like scratched myself on something. Let me run to the ocean.
Right. And clean this off. And
thank you so much for letting me know. But instead she's like, oh no, it's just like paint from the tribe flag that hadn't been painted yet. Drea,
that was not the smartest move. But yeah,
I mean, it's incredibly advantageous that Tori is in no good strategic position.
Yeah.
So like, she goes to Marianne. So Marianne now knows about this. But like, what I love Marianne. I don't love Tori, but I love Marianne. But like, what is that going to do?
It's nothing because they just know she has something, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Marianne knows she has an idol, but that's it.
So let's go to the immunity challenge, Lana.
Yeah.
So it's a classic challenge that we've seen before. You balance on a perch, you've got a buoy, and you're holding it between two sticks. We've seen this countless times.
Several times.
But we do get, and we get prefaced this, we get the same negotiation twist that we got in this exact same challenge on season 41, where if a certain number of people sit out the challenge, Jeff is going to give them enough rice to last at least 4 days.
Yep, if rationed correctly.
Yes. So immediately, Lindsay and Marianne step up. Lindsay being like, I'm not going to win this challenge.
Right.
And I will say, I loved the realism in that moment.
That would have been me.
I would not have won that challenge either.
That would have been me. I'd be like, baby, this is not the challenge for me, so I am not going to do that. So in order for me to, I'll help us and get rice. So
and it wasn't the challenge for a lot of people. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
And Marianne also volunteers, but then we get this like group huddle situation. I'm like, why? What are you trying to hide from Jeff? What are you trying to hide? And I love that during the first part of this negotiation, Jeff is like, well, how many people? And Hai is like, 2. And then all throughout the negotiation, Hai is like, 3, 2, 3. I'm like, you really think, Hai? They don't have an Angelina on this season to negotiate. So, right. But in this huddle situation, Marianne gets really, really emotional, which one of the best plays of the season. It's an incredibly underrated move from what I've seen online. But Marianne is like, I'm willing to like sacrifice my opportunity when I know I'm at the bottom so that y'all can eat for a few more days. Like, someone else do this, please. And I loved this moment from Marianne. And I think this is what's going to save Marianne a few extra days in this game.
Agreed.
But ultimately, Omer and Drea both volunteer as well. Drea, I was like, girl, you have every advantage under the sun. Of course you can sit this out, right. and you're in the majority.
Right. You're good.
And so we get to the challenge. Survivor's ready.
Go.
High drops. Boom, high drops. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Like, I was like, hi, you should have just sat this one out and got some more rice. Like, what?
And then a few moments later, Roxroy drops. And then a few moments later, Mike drops. And then a few moments later, Romeo drops. All within the first, like, few minutes of the challenge.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're down to 3 people.
I was like, y'all should have all sat out. Y'all should all just set out. Like,
y'all all just made a fool of yourself.
You just set out. But okay. But then it came down to 3, which was Chanel, Tori, and Jonathan.
Yeah.
And like, they lasted 10 minutes in and they were doing well. They were doing really well. They looked real sturdy. Then all of a sudden, Chanel dropped out of nowhere. Sad. And so then it came down to Tori and Jonathan, and in the end, they were both holding on, back and forth. But in the end, Tori won. Back-to-back communities. You can't be mad at that.
I can't be. Honestly, no. And I want to say there is actually a fun fact now involving good old Miss Tori. So she is now the second woman ever in 42 seasons of Survivor to win the first 2 immunity challenges back-to-back.
All right. Kudos to you, Tori.
But you know what's more fun about that, Lana?
What's that?
So the first woman to do it is actually a player I love, Laura Moret from Survivor Samoa, who came back for Blood versus Water. So she won the first 2 immunity challenges, lost the third, and was voted out that next episode.
Well, let's do hope history repeats itself.
If there was ever a time for history to repeat itself, it's now. But truly, I cannot be mad at Tori.
She did the
She
dog
slayed
thing.
it. She did the damn thing.
She
Good for
did.
you, girl.
Good.
Because you were gonna get voted out. So good for you.
Truly.
So we go back to camp, and shockingly, truly the biggest gag of the entire season, Mike and Hai are hyper fixated on voting out Chanel.
Pretends to be shocked.
Truly pretends to be shocked. And they decide that there's going to be a few votes on Romeo. And this is where we see Romeo is starting to unravel. He's concerned about Drea and Roxroy not talking to him. So he's going to every single person.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, we need to vote this way. We need to vote this way. Guess what? We should vote this way. Are you voting this way? Because we should vote this way. And I'm like, oh my God. So Hai, of all people, Hai and Omer are having this conversation. And Hai, of all people, is like, we should flip. What about Romeo?
They don't like chaos.
30 minutes.
Feel like they don't like chaos. They say, we don't like chaos. We don't like how chaotic he is. It's not working well with us. Let's vote him out. And they run and they try to tell Jonathan. Jonathan's like, okay, if that's what we're going to do, you all right?
I'm good.
You're frowning. That's why I asked.
I have another screen up and I'm like intently looking at it. So that's why.
Okay.
No, I'm chilling. I'm good.
Okay, cool.
I appreciate it, but no, I'm chilling. I'm good.
Okay. But yeah, so Jonathan was like, I'm down. Let's, that we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And then they go tell Mike, and Mike is like, no, I want to get rid of Chanel. And it would be a mistake not to get rid of Chanel because Chanel did me dirty and I want to get rid of Chanel. And so Chanel got to go.
When you did the exact same thing to Chanel in that exact same tribal.
But he voted Daniel. He didn't vote Chanel.
No, so he voted Chanel.
I know. But he keeps saying he voted Daniel. But I'm like,
history match?
I was like, all right. But okay.
Yeah, so Mike is starting to think that Hai is just paranoid.
Yeah.
Which he's sticking with the plan of vilify Chanel, vote Chanel. And so we go to tribal, and the dominating conversation is like how people are acting towards each other since this is like 3 or 4 days into merge, or into them all living on the same beach, like 3 days into merge. And there's a discussion about like who you want to keep in the game and who you want to get out early. And Hai brings up this really important point where he's more so concerned about who he's voting with in the future. And obviously we've seen sort of the evolution of the meta game of Survivor being now not necessarily strict alliances, but more so this voting block situation. And it's really interesting to see Hai sort of make this comment that directly opposes that, where it's kind of like back to sort of old school Survivor in a way. And in a lot of ways, I like that. I like the chaos that comes with voting blocks to an extent. Sometimes it's a little annoying, but I don't know. I don't know if you have any like specific opinions on like alliance versus voting block, Lana.
I feel like this is my thing. I think an alliance is a voting block. I think it's the same thing.
It's just a voting block that you vote with every time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But I mean, if you're going to do week by week voting blocks or day by day voting blocks, then okay, that's a little bit chaotic, but a little less reliable. And if you like reliability, like I do, I would rather know, like, this is a group I'm going to be working with. This is what we go do. Instead of every week, after every challenge, I got to go find a new voting block because this voting block is over. And then I don't know if the same people want to vote the same way this time, or it's definitely more chaotic. I can see the benefits of both. I kind of like watching both, but as far as if I was in the game, I would rather have an alliance than a voting block, because I don't want it to change every week, and now I have to continue to find my spot in a voting block when,
I would maybe want to do like a combination of the two to an extent. Like I'd maybe want like an alliance of 3 or 4 in merge, but then like have people that maybe we vote with this time, maybe we vote with other people this time. Like that sort of like core. Yeah, that like fluid little group, kind of like very, very similar to what we see with like, I guess the best example this season would be like Jonathan, Lindsay, and Omer. Or even maybe just Jonathan and Lindsay. Because Omer's kind of like everywhere and nowhere at once. But yeah, that's kind of, I would kind of maybe want like a little bit of both. And then we get these like jabs back and forth between Hai and Romeo. And I was like, not the gays fighting.
The girlies are fighting.
The girlies are fighting. And then Jeff has this weird car analogy.
I mean, I've heard this analogy before.
We've all heard this analogy before.
And everybody wants to know what's the best position to be in the car. Do you want to be in the driver's seat? Do you want to be? I'm like, baby, I don't drive, so put me in the passenger seat every time. But guess what? I'm gonna be the navigation. I'm gonna make sure this car gets where it's got to go. So,
yeah. See, I want to be middle of the back seat.
The whole seat?
No, so like in a 3-person like backseat, I want to be smack dab in that middle seat.
That's the whole seat.
Oh, is that what you call it?
That's what we call it, the whole seat.
Oh, I've never heard that before. Oh, I love that. Work. Okay. The whole seat. Work. Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of room, but I'm gonna wedge myself in there. And I've got my eyes straight forward, but I'm not one of those first 2 people.
Oh, I'm in the first 2. I'm guiding. I'm in the passenger seat with my map and my navigation system, and I'm making sure we all get to. But I won't be that person that's so obnoxious that they want to kick you out the car.
Exactly. I'll be like in the middle. If y'all want to give me the aux, I'll throw on the music. Like that'll be me. But
I'll do the passenger side, and then I'll be willing to switch to the back seat so I can take a nap.
Right. Yeah, we can interchange in that. I'll navigate for a bit, sure.
Tangent again. We need a tangent banner next time.
Honestly, I think I used to have. Honestly, I think I just started using vodka every time we did tangents, especially on our Drag Race ones. Like that's just kind of how it ends up. But we go to the vote. We lose Chanel. I'm not surprised in the slightest, but I am upset.
I'm very annoyed, but I'm not surprised. But she's our first juror.
I'm happy she made jury at the very least.
At the very least.
A mayor of jury. Our Survivor Org queen. I'm very, very happy that she got on the season and got to play Survivor, despite, we'll talk about it in a sec, I guess not really having the best experience playing, which is unfortunate. The vote was 7-3 to 1, with 1 vote on Hai from Romeo. Sure. The 3 votes on Romeo came from Marianne, Omer, and Chanel, and then everybody else voting for Chanel. So that's where the votes ended up. I do want to talk briefly about an interview Chanel did with EW, where the headline literally is Chanel Howell says she was vilified on Survivor 42. And if I remember to, I'm going to link the article in the description of this video when it goes up. But basically her entire interview is talking about how she made essentially the exact same moves as Omer when it comes to Shipwheel Island. I guess that's now the name people are using. Shipwheel Island and the summit specifically is like the top or whatever. So I'm gonna say Shipwheel Island because that's kind of cute. So she made the exact same decision as Omer on Shipwheel Island. she made the exact same move as Mike in the tribal council that got Daniel out. And pretty much, like, the main quote of the interview is, why is it that women in this game can make the exact same moves as men, but don't get the same grace they do, or don't get the same leeway they do, or are vilified in a different way? And, you know, we've heard this from a lot of women on Survivor, a lot of Black women on Survivor. It's incredibly unfortunate that this is happening, specifically also from 3 men of color in the game. But I kind of just wanted to highlight it. Lana, I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
I mean, this is something that's been going on in, like you said, mostly Survivor, most of all reality competition shows. You see, when it's things like a Big Brother, like a Survivor, like a, you know, where they have to make moves and be strategic and be sometimes sneaky, sometimes, you know, ruthless, sometimes cutthroat. When women are cutthroat, especially women of color are cutthroat, they don't get the same, as she said, grace or the same edit as men, period. Like, it doesn't even have to be men of color, but it's just men. Because even when white women do things that are sneaky, that are villainous, that are cutthroat, they are praised for they're mostly praised. Like, we see Janelle from Big Brother. She was not the nicest person in the house, but people loved her. People loved all the moves she made, even when she was very mean to people. We saw Parvati on Survivor.
Parvati was my example, yeah.
People loved her when she made sneaky backdoor cutthroat moves, but people still praised her for being a great player. And same with Sandra, even. And it's like, certain people get the benefit of being praised for a move or something that they do. You don't have to agree with their move. Like, I didn't particularly agree with Chanel taking the risk on the summit, or I didn't agree with it, but it was a move, and it should have been praised the same way anybody else did it. Drea did the same thing. Omar did the same thing. And it's like,
Marianne did the same
thing. Why are we not going to say, just because we didn't agree with the move, don't mean it was a bad move. It's just a move we didn't agree with. So I agree with her that she's getting villainized for making the same moves that other players have made, but she's not getting the same amount of credit or respect for those moves. Like I said, we've seen it happen several times before in all of these different competition shows. And it's just unfortunate that women can't get the same respect in these games as men. We watched Survivor Australia and we saw the same thing happen. Sam made a huge move and people hated her for the move, but then was like, oh, but she's a great player. It just seems weird, but like, the men literally can be mediocre and do nothing, but they get praised. So it's unfortunate. I hope that the men who did treat Chanel like that will at least say something to her. Yeah. If they don't do it publicly, at least privately, because that is something that they should. I mean, they're home. You're watching this. You see this now. You see how you were portrayed and what you did. Like, if you don't see anything wrong with how you treated that woman, that's something, is something really wrong with you, because they really was going after her for doing the exact same thing they did. Like, Mike, how are you mad at her when you voted for her? She just voted for you, even though she was just trying to protect herself. That's what the game is about.
That's exactly what Mike was doing too.
You're trying to protect yourself, which is what you are supposed to do. So his specific beef with Chanel is unwarranted. I don't get it. It's weird. When they did the same thing. I don't know if I don't think Omer or High had. Well, maybe High. Omer has anything.
Yeah, High was going to say is a bit understandable.
Yeah, I don't think Omer has anything to apologize to her about because he just did the move. She did the move. And I don't think she is expecting. She doesn't want an apology from Omer. She's not upset with Omer. She just wants people to stop vilifying her for making the same move he did. High, on the other hand, I can understand why he was upset a little bit because it was literally they were trying to vote out his number one. I get it, I understand it, but the obsession still is kind of weird to me.
Yeah, my biggest issue is with Mike. I'll be real honest. Just the whole Mike situation, and even High was like, let's flip it to Romeo then. Like that shows that like he didn't have all of this hyperfixation, whereas Mike was like, no, I need Chanel out of this game in order for like my life to be better and like all of that. And it felt weird and gross. And I didn't love that. But we do love Chanel. We stand Chanel here. And if you don't, then leave. Honestly, I don't care. Like, respect the game that she played because that move with the Daniel vote is one of the smartest moves that has been made this season thus far. Point blank and the period.
Because she didn't know if he was going to use his 50-50 and be safe.
Yeah.
Then it would have been her.
Yeah.
So at least she had a tie.
Yep. So that's that. Survivor 42. Another week down. And this season's pretty damn good so far.
I'm enjoying it very much.
I'm very much so enjoying it. I'm very much so excited. I have a feeling we're going to see all of Drea's jewelry come out at one tribal council. I'm just going to put that in the universe. I just feel like at one point, Drea's just going to be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to use my amulet, get another extra vote. Guess what? I'm using my extra vote too. Guess what? I'm using my idol on my best friend. And also, hey, Mike, give me your idol. Like, that's honestly what I'm hoping and praying happen.
I would hope. But yeah, I'm hoping. Here's to hoping, people. We
still have all 3 amulet holders in the game. Amulet update. We still have all 3 of them. So, you know.
And all 3 idols are still there and in the game.
No advantages have been played other than shot in the dark.
Yep. So.
Are we going to have a tribal as crazy as when Liana tried to steal Xander's idol? Unsure.
Are we going to have somebody get Sareed out because everybody uses their idols at once?
Could you imagine?
Everybody's
I was about to say something. I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Don't say it then.
But based on our previous conversation, that's where my mind was going.
Oh, yeah.
Not saying it, not putting that in the universe.
Not putting it out there, but yeah.
Anyway, Survivor 42. We'll be back next Tuesday. Tuesday is now when we upload these videos, apparently, because I decided to start posting them on Tuesdays instead of Mondays. So
Tuesdays are when we're going to upload them. That's what it is. We actually came to an agreement. We discussed this. This is not something that was just a fly by the seat of our pants decision. We came up with the decision that we're going to post all our Survivor stuff the day before Survivor.
It's honestly incredibly convenient. Like, it works.
It works.
And with a lot more shows on the horizon and that I don't know if we're going to cover.
Who knows? We may be not.
I'm going to be honest, this is not Survivor related, but the Challenge All-Stars 3 cast looks incredibly bomb, and I kind of want to cover it if we have time. But mostly and specifically for Queen Sylvia and only Sylvia, honestly. But to find out what we're covering, when we're covering it, and how we're covering it, make sure to follow us at the Cup_reality on Twitter for all of the most up-to-date Cup news. Make sure to follow both of us on Twitter because we're absolutely amazing. Duh. And make sure to subscribe, like, and share on your way out. Yeah. With that, I cheers.
I say cheers. So we have little sandwiches on your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on your way out the door. So
yes, grilled peanut butter and jelly.
Grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yep. So, yep.
Cheers.
Enjoy it. Cheers.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye. Bye now.
Goodbye now.
Please go.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye-bye
Bye-bye.
now. No, we're
Farewell.
done.
So
We're done.
long.